But a lot of you are interested in maybe building a business or don't really know what that entails. And so we try to give you education kind of on all ends so that you can make those decisions for yourself. I left you guys in the dark. If you want to turn your light switch on over there, I'm sorry, it's right by the door. I just looked over, I was like, you guys look very dark over here compared to over here. Sorry. But what I hear a lot of time is, I had no idea you could make that kind of money with Young Living. Or, I really want to build a Young Living business, but it seems like no one else wants to do it with me. Has anybody in this room ever said those things to yourself out loud? No one wants to admit it. I said them. I was like, do what? Young Living, huh? What is that comp plan thing? What? So with this presentation today, we're going to go over presenting the Young Living business. I want those of you in the room to, we're going to kind of try to hit on multiple levels of people in here, I guess. So if you have struggled to present the business to somebody else, I want you to be able to take this information and confidently go share the business to somebody else. If you don't really think you want me to even start this presentation because you don't really care about the Young Living business, then you need to hear this information. So we're going to work to present info to those of you who haven't heard about the Young Living business. We're going to clarify misinformation for those of you who don't understand the Young Living business. I'm going to try to propose a different angle for some of you who are completely against the Young Living business. That was me, by the way. And then we're going to equip those of you who already think that the business is awesome to share that business opportunity with other people. Because guess what? If you can't do that, your business won't grow. If you guys like sharing oils and you're wondering why you're just helping people get a premium starter kit and then it doesn't go past that, it's because you're missing that second piece of sharing the business with them, okay? So I'm gonna start with my story. This is my family. In our really fun hats at the farm. We look so dorky in this picture. I pulled this up and I was like, we're totally gonna show that. I have a business degree from the College of William and Mary. And I was taught in my business classes that network marketing was a business model that existed, but that not very many people succeeded. And that traditional business was a much better way to go. It was a better bet. So because it was the safer business model, that's what most people should go with. Work for someone else for 40 years, retire, and move on. But the problem is, both of my parents are entrepreneurs, and I didn't actually know that that business model was a thing, because I'd only ever seen them employed for themselves. So I actually wrote network marketing off entirely because I had a professor in college who told me that that was just something that like 2 people had ever succeeded in, and it was kind of sleazy and weird. And so if you don't have a business degree in this room, you have a leg up. Because no one ever told you that, like they told me in college. So I'm gonna try to take us from this idea of MLM, have you guys heard of multi-level marketing? To MLR, which is multi-level relationships. And I don't care if you are in Young Living for the long haul as a business, or if you do something else, everything you do is and should be built on relationships. So I was trying to give you guys a really good definition for what network marketing was. And I was like, let's see what Google says. Google says that network marketing is another term for pyramid selling, and an industry that has produced millionaires, but very rarely do people get rich in this business. Those are legit the definitions off of Google. And I was like, man, no wonder we have a bad rap. Even Google thinks we have a bad rap. So we've got these huge obstacles to overcome in our minds about what this is. It's literally in your mind. Like if you have a hang up about this business, it's in your head. It's not on paper anywhere. I want you guys to go with not the Google version, I want you to go with my version of the definition, because this is how I think of it. We're sharing products or services by word of mouth but we're continuing to make income on those original testimonies. When was the last time that you told somebody about any of these things? A new restaurant? A TV or movie you saw? Your child's school. I will talk about my kids' preschool all day long. If you are a new mom and you want to know where to send your kid to preschool, come talk to me. I will tell you about it. Your favorite place to shop for groceries. Do you love Martin's? Are you Whole Foods? Do you like Trader Joe's? Do you like Kroger? Are you Walmart? But you have a strong feeling about where you shop for groceries, all of you in this room. How about a doctor you love? Our whole business is built on word of mouth. We did like 3 newspaper ads when we very first opened that cost like $1,200 to run 3 newspaper ads, and like 3 people saw them. Our entire business, and Evan's sitting here going, yes, Evan's a chiropractor too, your whole business is built on word of mouth. So every day, every single one of you in this room gives free word of mouth advertising to somebody. And they don't pay you for it. You aren't getting paid for that. And a lot of times, I was taught about word of mouth marketing in undergrad in my business degree. I was taught that it is the strongest, best form of advertising that a company can get. And so companies started to pick up on this. So maybe, I've noticed this at our dentist, if I hand a referral card to somebody else, and the referral card then gets brought into the dentist for a new visit, I might get like $10 off my next cleaning or something. Maybe they're like online grocery stores, and if you give somebody your referral code, then you get $10 off your next shopping trip. Companies have figured it out. Companies know that word of mouth marketing is really, really strong. It's convincing. People appreciate hearing from their friends. But with other companies, it ends there. That's it. You get paid once. You don't get $10 off your groceries forever. You get one time a referral fee, right? But let's talk about Young Living. Because you then get paid for every future purchase that person makes too. Because of that one time that you helped them get their starter kit, or even a basic kit. I got a flippin' basic kit with a bottle of Thieves. Don't do that to people, but I did. But then people above me, people in my team, people in my organization, every time I was still excited about oils, they continued to get paid for that. Because they told me one time, they invested in me that one time. And you continue to get those referral fees. That's way better than your online grocery store or your dentist, right? So Young Living is really no different than anything else that you're already doing for free for other people. Except this. So in your programs, because I know that this is not going to be easy for everybody to see, this is the Young Living income disclosure statement. You guys have probably seen this before, but I can bet that probably not even half of this room would know how to accurately read this. This is so cool. I one time heard Ryan McManus say that this was the Young Living's greatest product. That people don't know about. It's like it's Young Living's secret product. When I first started learning about Young Living, I thought of it like a video game. Not that I'm a big video game person, but you could like unlock levels and there were secret swords hidden behind things. This is like a secret sword that people don't understand. So we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to leave this slide up here for a while. You guys have it out in front of you so you can see it closer? I hope my laser pointer works. It does, yes, kind of. Okay, so I'm going to step off of here so you can see this. We're not going to talk about every single one of these numbers, but we're going to talk about the ones that are really important. We're going to talk about this column called rank, and look at the percentage of all members first. So this first rank up here is distributor. 94% of our company is ranked as distributor. What does that mean? 94% of our company is getting paid nothing, and they love the products. And I bet you the other 6% of the company down here, even if they didn't get paid anything, would still love the products. And that tells me that our company is very strong. It tells me that our products are amazing, and it tells me that people are excited to buy them, regardless of this secret sword back-end thing that people don't know about. Okay, so as you move down the ranks, you also move down in percentage. Why is this? I used to think that, like other companies, Young Living said, we have room for 6 Royal Crown diamonds at the top, and the first 6 people to get here this year, or whatever, I didn't really understand the time frame thing, they would get those slots. Not true. So as you move up in rank, you see that this 94% falls to 3.5%. 3.5% of the company is ranked as star. 1.3% of the company is ranked as senior star. These numbers change because folks don't always want to or know how to put the work in to continue advancing. The time that it takes at Platinum Diamond, Crown Diamond, Royal Crown Diamond is a lot more work and a lot more people to keep track of, and a lot different types of work. You constantly have to grow and learn. Not everybody has the desire or drive to continue doing that. I teach my team, learners are earners, and a lot of people get really complacent. And that's not just in Young Living, that's in life in general. Like, when was the last time you went out and read a new book about something you knew nothing about just to expand your mind? Like, we don't do it. We get complacent, we get stuck. So when we look at the company, we look at these bottom ranks here, from like executive down, the top 2% or so of the company, most people aren't uncomfortable enough to make enough changes in their life, to make enough sacrifices in their life, to get to those ranks. So if you're at those ranks or near those ranks, way to go. Because you're in the top 2% of our company already, which is awesome. And if you're here and you're shooting for those ranks, then way to go, because you made a decision to spend time here on a Saturday instead of apple picking, instead of pumpkin patching. Not that we don't do that in our family, but we have made a lot of sacrifices over the last 3 years to have the life of our dreams in now. And for the last 3 years, it's been hard. And we've made a lot of sacrifices and lost a lot of sleep and all sorts of good stuff. Most people aren't uncomfortable enough to make those changes. So you have to decide if you're uncomfortable enough to want to make those changes. So let's talk a little bit over here about monthly income, because this is cool to me. This is super cool. So the big column in the middle. And I'm going to focus on average monthly income. This, for those of you who like stats, you can go through and read all this stuff. But when I talk to somebody, I'm just going to talk about average. I'm going to focus on one column, because if you start giving them too many numbers, they go to sleep on you. And then they don't care what you have to say, and then that defeats the purpose of meeting with them to begin with. So our average income is super cool. But what people get hung up on is that they like to say, oh, a star makes about $77 a month. A senior star makes about $240 a month. And what happens with facts? They tell. Can somebody tell me what sells? Anybody in here? Oh yeah, you guys all know this already. I don't even have to teach you. So when you're talking to people about this income disclosure statement, you're not going to sit and go, as a star, you can make $77 a month. And if you want to work a little harder for senior star, you can make $240 a month. No, people are like, great. I can also go out and pick up cans and make $77 a month, Nicole. I don't care. We need to tell stories about these numbers, you guys. And this is where these meetings become super effective. I do them most often in one-on-ones, because then I can really speak to whatever is important to that person. Because everybody is a little bit different, right? So when I first started and I saw these numbers, the only number up there I could see was $514 a month at executive. $514 a month at executive paid our health insurance bill. We're self-employed and we've always paid health insurance out of pocket. My parents have always been self-employed and they've always paid health insurance out of pocket. I did not realize until I was like 20 years old that most people don't pay $1,200 a month for health insurance coverage because that's what my parents did. I thought that was crazy. I was like, companies pay for that? Are you kidding? I had no idea. So this, in a time where we were making $17,000 a year, was huge. So when I'm talking to somebody else, I want to know what's important to them. I tell them my story, and then I go, $514 a month is amazing. But let's back up for a second. $77 a month would cover your ER order. Then your ER order wouldn't come out of your budget at all. That would cover your $50 a month and your shipping. You'd be done. $240 a month, that could let you have a bigger ER order. That would mean more wellness for your family. That could mean that your kids' ballet lessons are covered for the month. That could mean your kids' private school is covered. That could be $240 in your retirement fund. When was the last time you took a vacation? If you had $240 a month to put into a vacation pot, and at the end of the year you save it up and then you take your family on a vacation, like how much fun would that be? Like, I'm watching your faces, and you guys are like, huh? Like, oh yeah, that does sound good. That would be fun. Like, those are ideas that are fun. So I'm gonna list multiple things when I'm having these conversations with people because I don't always know exactly what's gonna speak to somebody. But $240 a month could mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Is that groceries? Is that half your grocery bill a month? Is that something really cool and exciting? Okay? Then we're gonna move on. $514 a month. This is where I was. That was our health insurance bill. If I could take that off of our plate, then I was golden. That was such a huge burden on our family. My husband's diabetic, I was pregnant. Like, we didn't want to go without that, okay? Maybe $514 a month into a fund for the next 10 years would be a really amazing college fund for your kids. Do you know how you're going to pay for your kids' college? She's tiny, right? Have you figured that out yet? No. Right? Maybe it's private school. Maybe $514 a month would cover a couple bills and you wouldn't have to think twice about taking a date night once a week with your spouse. Hello, healthier marriages and healthier families. Cool, right? When was the last time you guys, how many people in here have done a date night with their husband in the last 30 days? Good. That's not very many people. You know? Like, we're missing so many pieces here, you guys. How many of you have credit card bills? Would $514 a month knock your credit card bill out pretty quickly? No. I like the honesty. An extra $500 a month, it adds up. How about silver? You guys, let's look at this number. And I usually stop at silver because if I start talking a whole lot bigger than this, it becomes so unattainable that people can't fathom. And if it becomes something that they can't see, then they stop listening to you. So I get to silver and I stop. Okay? $2,227. Is that right? Yep. A month. Extra. That's average, granted. And I always say, like, I'm not promising people anything. That's average. That means some people make less than that and some people make more than that. Okay? But $2,000 a month. I think my first silver paycheck was somewhere around $1,200 a month. I also will gladly show people my paychecks, which is a really uncomfortable thing. And I don't know about in your company, but if like in other businesses, like not your Young Living business, but in like your day job, if the people you work with would show you their paychecks, that's uncomfortable. But I never want people to feel like I'm promising them things, because I'm not. It's all on you. Like, you can do 100% of what I've done or 0% of what I've done. I don't care. Is that mean? But it's on you. Like, creating your dreams is on you. But $2,000 a month, is that your mortgage? How quickly would your house be paid off? How quickly would your credit card be paid off? Right? Very quickly. Faster than $500 a month. We'll go with that, right? That's crazy. $2,000 a month extra. Because the cool thing about this business is that you can choose to work it full-time or part-time. But it doesn't work part of the time, guys. If you want to come and show up here today at the rally and then decide to share with oils with somebody in 3 weeks, and then maybe in a couple months you're going to have a class, and then maybe 6 months from then you're going to sit and wonder why none of these numbers that Nicole was talking about have come to fruition. It's because if you went to your day job in 3 days, and then again in 3 months, and then showed up again in 6 months, you'd be fired. So if you don't actually work, you don't actually get paid. It's amazing how that happens, right? Like that law doesn't go away in network marketing. So then, I said I stopped at silver income, but I don't actually do that. I skip to RCD income because that's important. The first time I read this, I was like, $152,000 a year, okay. Like, doctors could do that. Surgeon could do that. My physical therapist sister could probably do that. And I was like, time out. I'm reading the wrong daggone heading on that column. That says $150,000 a month. Let that sink in for a second, because I have to turn the page. That might handle your credit cards, right? You can buy everybody a house. You can be like Oprah of houses. You can have a house, you can have a house, you can have a house. Everybody has houses. $150,000 a month. Okay, so then I want to take you guys way over here to this end column and the months to achieve this rank. At the low end, a lot of these ranks are achieved in a month. And we have to remember that everybody's starting line is at a different place. So a lot of people have a huge following already because they are Betty Crocker. And then they start talking about oils. Betty Crocker starts talking about oils, and everybody has been following and trusting Betty Crocker for the last, how long has she been around, right? As long as, then, all of a sudden she has a lot of really quick growth. Maybe you're not Betty Crocker, so stop comparing yourself to her, okay? You can't compare your starting line. Even if your finish line is the same as somebody, you can't compare your starting line to theirs. John Acuff told us that at Elevate, and I was like, man, that was good. That's good wisdom. There's also a high end here. And this is when people start pulling calculators out and going, what's 255 months? Somebody got to Royal Crown Diamond in 230 months. That's almost 20 years. Okay? So what does that tell me? Is that you can put in as much or as little time into this as you want. It's your choice. The whole thing is your choice. It's the hardest thing about this business, is that the lack of accountability, because it's all your choice. And a lot of times, I don't know about you, but it's really easy to make the easy choice and not the hard choice or the right choice. So if you could be Royal Crown Diamond in 20 years by doing a little bit, then you can get there. Or if you want to work your hiney off and do it in 17 months, apparently you can also do that too, because these are actual stats from Young Living. Okay? Let's say there are 10 ranks from distributor to Royal Crown Diamond. Let's say you work at a really steady pace and your goal is 1 rank per year. That's 10 years. Okay? 10 years. In your current job, does your income outlook look like you could be making about $150,000 a month if you stick with your current position in 10 years? Anybody? So would it be worth it to work your Young Living business? Yes. Even if you don't grow to Royal Crown Diamond in 17 months, but you decide to put in consistent effort and make a goal of 1 rank a year, you would be stupid to not work your, that's honestly, when I first saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, like, anybody who doesn't want to do this, unless you have some amazing, crazy, projection in your job, for the average person, you'd be crazy not to do this. So on days when you're like, I don't really want to send out a note to somebody, I don't really want to send them a sample, I'll do that next week. Ask yourself, in 10 years at my current job as a secretary, as a teacher, as a nurse, what else do you guys do? Really? As a housekeeper? As a chiropractor? In 10 years, I'm asking you this because we have this conversation all the time. Unless he all of a sudden duplicates himself or we franchise like crazy, we're not making $150,000 a month as a doctor because of what he does. And it took that long, it took 2 to 3 years to rack up more than that in student loan debt. Anybody in here have student loan debt? Couple. I mean, we win the bill. I mean, we win the prize for a ridiculous amount of student loan debt. You student loan debt people would be crazy not to work on this for 10 years. Do you guys see? Like, it is a no-brainer. There is no question about whether this is cool. Christy Garrison told me one time, she read in a book, that the only person who's allowed to have an opinion about how you make your money are the people that pay your bills. Are you afraid of what your friends and family might think? Mine thought I was crazy. Ask my sister. They thought I was nuts. My uncle is the CEO of a home health care company, and he tried to sit me down and explain to me why I was like making an awful choice. Like, I just don't know about this, Nicole. You could be a pharmaceutical sales rep. You could do that. I don't believe in that. Why would I do that? Right? And they actually wouldn't pay me that much. When it gets down to it, as a pharmaceutical sales rep, I would not make that much money. I couldn't make that much money. Isn't that crazy, you guys? Like, just blows my mind. Okay, so some of you in here like Young Living. Is that fair to assume? Some of you might like Young Living and another company. There are some of you in here who are working with other companies, who are hosting parties for other companies, even if they're your friends. And maybe that whole presentation, you're thinking about how it might apply to your Longaberger basket business, or your Tupperware business, or your leggings company, or your 31 tote bags. I don't know. I don't know what is on your heart. I don't know what you're passionate about. I know you like Young Living, but I don't know if Young Living feels like the right company for you. How do you know if you're choosing, like does that business model look appealing to you, right? 10 years, working consistently, the potential to make a lot of money, but it's on you, right? But how do you know that Young Living is where you should be doing that? That's a hard question, especially if you're stuck between companies, especially if you've done other companies in the past. Do you know you're in the right place? Number one, we need to look at the product. Would you buy the product forever and ever, even if you weren't being paid? Number two, and this is huge, is the product consumable? That's the kicker. Because I see a lot of people who like a lot of things, but they last for a really long time. And there's not a whole lot of essential rewards and monthly shipments and exciting new launches of new plants that have yet to be discovered because the product's not consumable. Because a basket's not consumable, a bag's not consumable, leggings aren't consumable, shirts aren't consumable, jewelry's not consumable, oils and our products that we use on a daily basis are consumable. How about the company? Does the company have a proven track record? Is it the new hottest thing on the block? That's my first red flag. It is not the key to long-term financial stability to just jump on the latest trend. Our company's been around for 24 years, is that right? 3, 4, something? Over 20 years. We're not going anywhere. There are plants to be discovered. There are new formulations of supplements to come up with. There's so much more room for innovation. There's so much more room to bring the seedlings line back for everyone to use. There's so much room for growth, right? And then we want to look at the company and at whether it fits your values. We were talking, Brittany, were you and I talking about a friend of yours who went to their convention, different company, and she was taking all these pictures of her and her friends at convention, and their kids were nowhere around. And that's how most network marketing companies function. You know, if you are a family, we are a family-friendly company. If I had to drop my kids, and granted, on a Saturday, sure, they'll stay with my in-laws for the day. That's fine. But if I had to be away from my kids for weeks and months at a time, because that's what my job required of me, I wouldn't want to do this. If I couldn't go back to that totally goofy picture of my kids standing in that field that was being ready to be planted, my kids digging in the dirt, like, that's cool. I show up we took our kids to convention last year, and they got all sorts of like cool free stuff because they were kids and because Young Living loves families. So Young Living fits my family's values. So you need to make sure that the company that you're with fits your family's values too. And what's our end goal of doing all of this, right? We're looking for money freedom and time freedom. I know some of you guys are going out there going, but money's not everything, Nicole. I know it's not. I know it's not. But having it makes life a whole lot easier. Well, Nicole, I really like to live humbly. I just really want to bless other people. Cool, go make a lot of money and open a school in Africa. Go fund other people's adoptions. Go do some really cool stuff for other people. Money is not a bad thing. It's a tool. I just really feel strong about the rights of whatever. Awesome, go fund legislation for it. But if you don't have the money to do it, then all you're doing is complaining. We have a rule in our house. My kids, my 6-year-old's really the only one that gets it yet. You can't complain. You can problem solve. We went in the grocery store one day, and he started telling me about how these grocery carts were not designed the right way, and how he wished they were designed some other way. And I said, hey, did you make that? Did you make that grocery cart? And he goes, no. And I said, okay, then you can't complain about it. If you feel that strongly about that grocery cart, then when you grow up, you make a better one, and you sell it to somebody. And you make a grocery cart that all kids are gonna love. But until then, you don't criticize something else that somebody else did. So if you're gonna sit and complain about politics, about legislation, about something, go out and make enough money to make a difference. Right? And you guys tell me too, I just don't have enough time for that. Well, you know what? When you make enough money, you do. You can make choices about what you do with your time. You can go rock babies in the NICU all day if that's what you want to do. You can go build houses in Uganda. You can go get chiropractic care for free. You can take on pro bono work because you want to, because you want to bless people. There's nothing wrong with money, and there's nothing wrong with having a lot of it. And there's nothing wrong with time, and there's nothing wrong with having a lot of it. So our end goal is money and time freedom. You also get to work from wherever. So you could be building houses in Uganda and still be doing your Young Living business. That's kind of cool too. There are 2 things that I like to take to all business meetings with people. One is a copy of that income disclosure statement. And the other is this book called The 4-Year Career. Who in here has read this book? Good answer. Not all of you though. I gift this book to any senior star on my team. Because I read this book and it totally rocked my world. The information in it takes 90 minutes to read. It's not like some big long read. But it's written by a man named Richard Bliss Brooke. And he has been in network marketing since 1977, so almost 40 years. So I would say that someone who's been in network marketing for almost 40 years probably knows a little bit about network marketing. Would you agree? He wrote this book. I actually had to ask how long this book has been published. had to ask Adam Green. That was kind of weird. I was like, can somebody find out for me how long this book has been around? It's written in 2009. Okay? He talks about what to look for in a network marketing company. There's a generic version of this book. This is the Young Living edition, but the contents of the book are the same. The stories in the back are all that's different. But the contents are the same. I remember reading this book when I very first started, trying to decide if this was right for me, and thinking, oh, Young Living fits that box. Oh, Young Living fits that box too. Oh yeah, that's right. And I just kept saying yes, 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 yes. Turns out, Richard Blissbrook has been in network marketing so long, he's been through a couple companies. In June of this year, he finally realized that Young Living was also the company he had been talking about in this book, and he joined our company. He had his own network marketing company, and he literally shut the whole thing down. And he brought all of his distributors over to Young Living because it actually makes sense. Like, it actually is no-brainer. But I share the Young Living version of this book with people because I want them to read the stories in the back. Because my story today might not have resonated with you. You might not need $500 to pay for your insurance bill. You might have insurance covered, no problem. That might not be a worry on your plate. But that's why people need to hear other people's stories, and that's actually why all of you in here are responsible for sharing your stories. Did you know that? You have a story to share and you need to tell other people about it. Because my story is not going to resonate with everybody. But when you guys talk to each other and say, this is what I see for myself in Young Living, then somebody else goes, me too. I thought I was the only one that was trying to save for my retirement. Cole's up there talking about having babies. That's not me. Right? I'm not everybody in this room. My story's not going to resonate with everybody, and that's okay. But that's why you guys have to share your stories with other people. And that's why there are other stories of other leaders in the back of this book, so that you can hear other stories, and you can let other people read other people's stories, so that they can see themselves doing this too. Because if you can't relate to me, then you're not going to want to do this. So you need to find somebody else that you can relate to. So when I leave a meeting, I literally pretty much just take these two things to a meeting and talk about the exact same things that we talked about. That's it. That's my whole spiel. It's just kind of sharing my story and talking to somebody else through the income disclosure statement. Sometimes I bring the comp plan, but I try not to pull it out. Those of you who are really excited to pull the comp plan out in a first-time business meeting, stop yourselves. Because I find for most people who are just trying to decide if they want to do this, it's so overwhelming that they do not understand. You can talk about PV, OGV, talk about basic terms, but when you're you need 6 legs and rising star bonus, and then you can be Royal Crown Diamond, people are like, I don't know what you're talking about, I just want to share oils with 3 people. So leave the comp plan in your bag, unless you're talking to somebody who's tell me more. Then you can get into those conversations with those specific people, but otherwise you're going to overwhelm them with the comp plan right away, okay? And then I say to them, and if you only have one copy of 4-Year Career, I give 4-Year Career away like candy. I have given away hundreds of dollars in 4-Year Career in the last 3, probably thousands of dollars. Because it's awesome, because if you buy it in bulk, it costs you $4, $5 a piece. And you know what, if I invest $5 in you and you decide to turn it down, it's not money lost. But if I invest $5 in somebody and they become my next diamond, then all of the ones that didn't ever read it, I don't care about them. I don't care about the money that I wasted to find that one diamond, okay? Because it's not really wasted money, okay? So I buy it in bulk, first of all, and then at the end of my meeting with somebody, even if you're not going to gift them the book, if you're going to hand them the book to borrow, I say, and you can take a picture of this. So what we talked about today, does that sound like something you might be interested in? Hey, would you do me a favor? This book completely changed my life and totally changed my perspective on what Young Living was as a business. And it'll take you like 90 minutes to read. And rewrite this so that it sounds like you saying it, not me, please. Please. I hate when people use scripts and they're like, meh, 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 meh. I'm like, no. But it's super easy. It's super easy. It'll take you 90 minutes. And then you're going to use an if I would you statement. If you haven't read GoPro, you should. If I let you borrow this book for a week, would you read it? And then we can chat about any questions that you might have and what you think about it. And then you make a deadline, because people won't just read the book because you handed it to them. Awesome, you'd read the book? Okay, so do you think if I got back with you, so today's Saturday, if I come and pick the book up next Saturday, do you think you'd have time to read it? Awesome, he said yes. And if he said no, maybe he felt good.
Yes.
Excellent. He was afraid you couldn't hear his answer. So he's going to say yes, and he's going to agree to that deadline. So it's something that he's agreed to. And maybe he says, no, I actually am going to be gone at a conference all week, so I really don't think I'll have time. Then I say, okay, when do you think you would have 90 minutes to read it? And let him set that deadline, and then hold him to it. Call him a couple days before, not text him, you don't have to call. You don't have to stalk your book out. Hey, I wanted to come pick that book up from you this weekend. Just wanted to double check that it would be okay. And go meet them. But give them a deadline. Okay, real quick. I'm going to go through some handling objections, because I know you guys have these, right? No, none of you have them. You've never had an objection to network marketing ever, right? I know you guys on the end aren't totally going to be able to see this, but you can put that forward just a little bit. There you go. Go with me for a second. I don't want to do Young Living. It's a pyramid scheme. Number one, pyramid schemes are illegal. Pyramid schemes make promise of money with no products behind them. Young Living wouldn't have been around for 24 years if we were just moving money around and hoping that it all worked out. There are regulatory bodies in place to make sure that we are not just a pyramid scheme. 94% of our company uses the product, so we know that the product moves before the money moves, right? Okay. If you are a teacher, anybody in here a teacher? Okay, cool. Who do you report to? Okay. How many teachers are in your school? Okay. Do all of them report to the principal? Yes. Who's the principal report to? School board? Superintendent? An assistant superintendent. And then a superintendent? And then the school board? Is that how that works? So if we wanted to be really creative, do a lot of people feed up to the top of that? Okay, hold on. Who works in an office? What is your job?
An administrative assistant.
Okay. How many of you are there? Who do you report to?
Our office manager.
One of them? And who does she report to?
Superintendent.
And also, how do these people's pay scales work? As you go up this thing. Weird how that works. So what are we drawing here over and over and over and again? If you want to go to the Olympics as a swimmer and you're 5, and there are 600,000 little 5-year-olds who want to go to the Olympics, and then some of them qualify to go to some sort of trial, and maybe 6 of them get through, right? So this is like times 60,000. And then we've got a line here, and like maybe 10,000 of them get through. And then there's another line above them, and maybe 5,000 of those. Do you see where I'm going? And at the top is Michael Phelps. But we started with 60,000 5-year-olds. Some of them maybe lacked some skill. Some of them maybe decided they didn't want to work as hard. Some of them decided they didn't want to learn a new stroke. Do you see how this works? Lots of people try. Lots of people want to move to different places. Some people are willing to put in the work. Some people are willing to learn new skills. Some people are willing to go back to school and gain new skills to move up in their job. But there is no pure, it's just a shape. And Young Living honestly can look like somebody at the top, and then there's somebody here, and then there's somebody here, and then maybe there's a really big pyramid here, and maybe there's an upside down pyramid here, and maybe, it's just a shape. We don't have to be afraid of triangles. There's no reason. It's silly. And it's no different than the way the rest of the world works. It is not its own alternate universe. It is just network marketing. It's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, how about I don't want to sell to my friends and my family? What if you opened a restaurant? Who would you call? I wouldn't call my friends and family, definitely not. It would be a secret restaurant. I'd not tell them about it. You would call them, you'd call your mom and you'd be like, Mom, I'm making mashed potatoes tonight, come and bring your friends, please. Oh wow, weird. You called somebody and you asked them to also bring their friends along with them. Would some of them come? Would some of them not? Would you feel totally rejected because some people came and some people didn't? No? Because maybe not everybody wanted to have mashed potatoes that night. Maybe they're going to come in a couple weeks. Would some of them come and bring friends? Would some of them come by themselves? Would some of them think would some of their husbands think that they were crazy for going to eat and drink at that restaurant? And they didn't want to go too. Weird. Kind of like Young Living. If you have something really cool that can change somebody else's life, and you don't want to share it with somebody, you're being selfish. And maybe that's mean. I don't think it is, though. I think it's truth. It's okay to say truths, even if they hurt, sometimes. Okay? Get over it. It's how anybody builds a business. How about a saturated market? Do you feel like you're in a saturated market? No one feels anything about it. Does anyone feel like they're in a saturated market sometimes? Sometimes. Okay. I always try to put this into perspective with people. I have about 5,100 people on my team. A lot of them are local, but not all of them. How many people live in the city of Stanton? Anybody know? Say that louder.
25,000.
25,000. How many people live in Augusta County? 78,000. I had 100,000 written down, but you are more right than I am. That's a really specific number. Awesome. So I have 5,000 people on my team, and they're not all here. Are there still people in this area that need oils? Even just in Stanton. Even just in Augusta County. Maybe you just haven't found them yet. How about a lack of time? Do you know time is the only commodity that we all share the same amount of? You ever thought about that? Mother Teresa has the same amount of hours in the day as you. Well, she's dead now, but you get my point. She had 24 hours, just like you. Bill Gates has 24 hours a day, just like you. Every president of the United States that has ever walked the face of this earth has 24 hours, just like you. How did they get more done? How did they get to be president of the United States? How has Mother Teresa changed so many lives? She has more time. No, she doesn't. Because you can't just create it. We all have the same amount. Oh, hey, time management. Hey, how about the word choices? We use this in my house a lot. You get to choose what you do with your time. And when people realize that they choose what to do with their time, and that it's not you just don't have time, that's not true. So stop saying it. I chose not to prioritize that today. That's true. But don't say I don't have time, because you do. And we all have the exact same amount of it. Noah built an ark. He had the same amount of time as you. You building any arks? Okay, just checking. Right? It's a choice. How many episodes of This Is Us did you watch this week? How many movies have you seen? How many good business books have you put in your brain? How many people have you shared oils with? How much time have you spent in prayer? These are all choices with what we do with our 24 hours. So maybe check out your 24 hours and see what you're using it for. Because you don't have a lack of time. None of you do. I lost a lot of sleep for a lot of years because I chose to work after my kids went to bed until 2 a.m. instead of going to bed. It is a choice. What you do with your time is your choice. And then money allows you a lot more flexibility with that choice. It's your job to build your dreams, you guys. If you aren't building your dreams, then you're building somebody else's. Cool thing about Young Living is that you can choose to do both. You can work on your dream as a side hustle. It doesn't have to be the main thing in your life. But just remember, in 10 years, you standing on this stage, and ask yourself how close you are to that $150,000 a year and what you did with your time. Because I would much rather see everybody in this room making $150,000 a month. I want to see all of you guys doing amazing things and building orphanages and taking care of people and whatever it is your dreams are. But it's not up to me. It's up to each and every one of you and what you do with all of your minutes in your day. So I hope this has been a different look at network marketing for you. And I hope that you take this information and go share it with other people, because if it stays in this room, it does absolutely no good. Okay? Grab yourself before your career if you don't have it already and read it, and then share it with other people. Lend it out. Give people that income disclosure statement all day long. You can find it online at youngliving.com/IDS, income disclosure statement. All right. I am super excited to move into the next part of our morning.